everybody for making out the time to come for the July edition of our webinar. It's really, really great to see some of our participants here on time and some of the old faces that have been joining us. I'd also like to sincerely appreciate Dr. Dragos for making out the time to attend, considering the huge and enormous time difference. It's really late over from his end, and he made the sacrifice to be here. So I just want to say an early thank you for being here and just honoring our invitation to share your story and to discuss with us this evening stroke morning from my here. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. So just ground rule and conversation for today. Space of Africa is a very unique space consultancy organization. So primarily, we're founded in 2020. So we've been in the industry as an organization for a while, and we provide market support services for companies that are looking to enter into the African space industry. We also provide startup support services for companies that are trying to start a business in the African space sector. And quite important at the core of what we do is also educational support. So we want to provide learning resources and to develop the next generation of African space professionals. At the heart of what we do as our mission, we want to empower young Africans to be able to develop innovative solutions using space data and space technology for the good of Africa. So inspiration is actually like a very big part of our vision, and that is why we host this monthly webinar series, and we aim to meet like our audience, young people, even like experts as well, just to discuss non-technical topics about the African space sector. What's up with us? So this in 2 months, I think on the 1st of September, we'll be having the New Space Horizon conference in Egypt. It's a very high level space event, and a lot of stakeholders in the African and global space industry are going to be there. And we're very happy to be partners for that event. And we're going to be having our founder there, Kweku Soma, who's going to be speaking at that event. So you should find out more about the event. You can scan the QR code, or you can check online as well. But definitely we are going to keep all our participants and our audience, noted. We'll keep you updated on what is happening with us as time goes on. Thank you so much. And for today's session is quite unique because it's not just about talking about space data or space technology or Earth observation like we always do. Today we are going to be speaking in English language, and we are going to really talk about dreams, daring, about the challenges that we face as young people, as professionals that work in the space sector. If you don't work in the space sector and you're just visiting for the first time, as I can see some, familiar faces that I know don't work in the industry, this is a session for everybody because it's going to leave you motivated and it's going to keep you inspired for your own, personal dreams and ambitions. But we hope at the end of the conversation, you see some good designers in the space industry. So I'll just talk a little bit about our speaker before I will not take more of his time so that he'll start the session. So Dr. Dragos he is an Earth observation expert with over 12 years of experience in the geospatial industry, and he holds a PhD in AI, artificial intelligence for Earth observation from the University of Singen in Germany, and he has received several awards for his innovation. In New Zealand, he leads and develops several geospatial data strategies for the Auckland Council. Previously, he served with the DLR German Aerospace Center as science manager for the largest AI for Earth observation center in the whole of Europe and with the Romanian Space Agency as well. He delivered research and innovations in the key Earth observation projects that led to the Romanian Space Agency becoming a European Space Agency member state in 2011. And he also graduated from the very famous International Space University and Singularity University. His interest is in Earth observation strategy and development, program management as well. So just as an aside to give you a background to why Dr. Jag was actually speaking to us today, apart from his laudable experience and innovations in the space sector, Dr. Dragon is very passionate about people and about inspiring people and about motivating people. The very first time I listened to him speak was about 5 years ago in a webinar, and I remember crying in that webinar like a baby. And not just me, the whole webinar, everybody was really inspired, and that's why I'm really, really personally excited that he's here with us today. So without much further ado, I'm going to invite on Dr. Dragos. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nelly. Why were you crying? I can't remember.
It was an SGC webinar during COVID 2020. Yeah, it was an SGC
Okay, I
webinar.
remember now. Yes.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you. So I guess that's how you found me. I don't have a presentation for you.
Yeah, I think
but
from my end, it's quite clear.
Right. Okay. So basically, what I would like to talk to you about today, I was thinking about, what could I share with you to be useful? And some of the lessons that I've learned that were maybe I've learned the hard way, that hopefully some of you would not have to go through them in the same way. So I want to go. So I want us to go back to the foundation of who you are as a person, and we'll start from there. So regardless of where you are in your career at the moment, regardless of what you're trying to pursue, regardless of maybe what your dreams or your circumstances might be, in the end you are one whole person. So you are one person. And just please follow up with my logic as I'm going to take you through this minutes of conversation. At the end, you can ask all the the questions that you want. But when you're by yourself, whether walking or alone at night, it's just you and yourself. So that's I want to talk to you, to that person who is you with yourself. So going to the foundations of what we are as people, the fact is that God has created us as individuals and has created you as a person. So you did not create yourself. There is a creator. There is the one who actually formed you in your mother's womb, and he gave you the life and he put you here. And that's the first foundation, that you did not create yourself, and you have been created. The second thing is that you have been created unique. So the way you have been formed to have certain affinities. So you like certain things and you dislike certain things. You feel drawn towards certain kinds of work, certain kinds of activities, and you are completely repelled by some, and they are not necessarily bad. Like, for example, some people might have an affinity towards music that others simply do not have. It's not in them, or some might have an affinity towards, and they feel drawn to work with numbers, to have a focus on details. For example, you have an aerospace engineer that has an affinity towards details. He is best placed to be in a place where he can actually have an eye for a detail when he's building or he's fixing an airplane, but somebody who doesn't have that, and he's more on the artistic side and more on the creative or innovative side, he has to be able to follow that affinity to to dream, to imagine, to innovate, and then to take that and to give it to somebody who can actually engineer that into reality. So the idea is that you have been created unique, and you have been created with certain affinities, and you can actually feel it, because when you are drawn to something, to do something, it's kind of alive in a sense. So you want to do it. You can spend hours and you're not getting tired of it. You want to do it, you want to study it, and so on. However, you are forced, if you are either choosing to go in another direction towards something that you do not have that affinity, you begin to feel it's frustration, and it can end up in actually it's painful. So that pain is also real. The problem is that we as human beings can actually choose one or the other. So you can either start searching for that towards which you have the affinity to go do, and that's how your creator has designed you to be, or you can actually go against that. You go against that because of social norms, you go against that because of social environment, you go against that because of what even you think you should do, what you think it's possible, what you reason in your mind it's possible. So then you create this friction in yourself between what you're drawn towards doing, what you have been designed to do, versus what you are not designed to do. Like for example, when I was in my mid 20s, I felt this. I really wanted to go to the North and the South Pole, but truly, what I really wanted was to be able to go to the South Pole on an expedition. Sorry, and honestly, in my mind back then, I did not know, I did not see how that could happen. But nonetheless, I still felt drawn towards trying that. So I, I followed it, and after 1 year, it came to pass. But in the same time, I had in my mind all of the thoughts why this could not happen, or why couldn't this, be possible. And for example, how I came to work in the space industry is that, following these principles I'm just sharing with you, I have always been um, functioning as an individual at this tension, at the intersection between science and art. Like I studied photography, I studied music, but in the same time, I took the path of engineering, of the faculty of electronics, of engineering, and none of them for me were um, like separately, none of them were satisfying, because if I fell too much into photography or too much into art, it felt it's too touchy feely, only feelings but no mind. However, if I fell into the science part, into the engineering part, it felt like this is not creative enough. It's not enough life in it. It's not enough creativity. Not enough uh, innovation in it. So I was always at this tension. Either one or the other. And I've studied image processing. Then as the technical part, I've studied photography as the artistic and the technical part. And then they all culminated. And this is the amazing thing with when you follow what God has put in you, there comes a time when there comes an intersection when you discover something that actually it's perfect for you. So for me, this was in the last year of university when and I did not even know these things exist. So I had a professor coming from Germany, and he asked me, "Do you want to do a PhD?" I had no idea what a PhD was. I said yes, and he told me about satellite images taken from space. I looked at the computer monitor. He was showing me some stuff. I kind of felt in myself, man, this is cool. This is like, it's cool enough to be science. It's cool enough. It's artistic. And I said yes. I had no idea what it means, but that was the natural next step. So that's how I ended up in Earth observation, and and I followed it ever since, with one exception, which I will share it. I will share it later. So basically, as the just as a first point, it's a tragedy to live a life and to have a career into something that you have not been designed to do. So if you feel like it's rubbing on the inside, it's kind of creating friction and stress. And I'm not talking about, you still have to work, you still have to put the effort, you still have to put the hours. But if it creates friction on the inside, then you feel, man, this is something in me that's it's not right. You are probably kind of following not in the right path. So as a first point, I would say don't seek to work in space, but rather seek that which you were designed to do. That what God has designed you to do, seek that. So don't seek a career, don't seek to work in space. It could be very well to have a career in space, but it might not be. So the first thing is seek that which you have been created and designed by God to do. So that's number one. When you find it, it flows, there's life in you, and that will give you the kind of the energy and the life to do the work, to do the, you know, to do the studies, to go through all this all these journeys. Now, once you find that, the second thing is get wisdom. So get understanding, get knowledge, get information, get courses, get books, and begin to learn, to basically to gain insight into the industry and the track that you have discovered. And the reason why it's important to search, and this should be a clue that we know we have not made ourselves, is because we do not know what we have been created for. So we have to search. So we have to seek, we have to search. If we would have been our own makers, we would have known. But because we because we don't know, obviously somebody else made us, that we have to find what he put, what he designed us to be and what he put inside of us. And then number two is you get the knowledge. And number three, and this is where I made a mistake in my career, and it was a very painful, very expensive, and it took about probably 5 years to recover from it, to come back on the right path, is resist the temptation to change careers. So remain in your work, remain in your lane. Do not go after money. Do not go after that industry is more appealing, or that other kind of career is more appealing, because it will cost you years to be able to come back. I'm not saying don't change jobs. What I'm saying, don't change fields of activity. Don't go from medical school to arts, and then to making flowers, or to selling flowers. And once you discover that which you find fulfilling and joyful in doing, stick to it, because these kind of detours are extremely expensive and very painful, and you will end up in the end, after all, hopefully back on the same course where you've gone off from. Now let's practically, the fourth point is, when you get a job, when you get into a career, let's assume you're working in space, but this applies across any kind of career. The best thing to realize very, very early on, and for me it wasn't so, for me it took me a long time to get it, is the fact that it's actually not about you. So that when you find yourself in that job, and you have the mindset, okay, this is about me, my career, my job, my my dreams, my desires, you've missed it, because wherever you find yourself in, it's not about you. It's about the people who, let's say, if you have a job, it's about the people who have hired you. It's about the organization who hired you. And if you have a company or some kind of startup, it's about your customers. So it's not about you. So if you enter and you serve in that place with the mindset of, I'm gonna seek the others' best, I'm gonna seek their well-being, their success, I'll make life easier for them, I will serve them in any way possible to make it easier and better or more profitable for them, that's the path that will make you successful in your in your career. But if you begin to think it's about you, obviously you will make decisions to serve you rather than others, and others will say, well, why are you here if you're not serving us, but you're serving yourself? We will look for somebody else. So the mindset is, be of benefit to others, serve them, and everything else will eventually align itself. Now, when you begin to do the work, and this is something that it can be quite insignificant, but I have learned it's way more important than actually it seems at first. So keep your word. This is the fifth point. Keep your word, deliver the work that you have to do, and tell the truth to whoever it is you find yourself surrounded with, and finish the work. So first of all, finishing the work and delivering what you promise basically shows others that you are capable of actually starting something and finishing it. If you just start things and they fall through the cracks halfway through, that tells a lot to somebody. But if you start something small and deliver something, even if it's small, it's a lot better than starting something big and after a quarter you drop it because you can't finish it. So it's always it's so important to actually, you say something, you deliver on that, and you finish the work. If you feel something is too big for you, just do something smaller. Just make sure you finish that and then pick up the next thing and finish that as well. Now, when it comes to keeping your word and delivering your promise, basically the trust between human beings is broken. It of course is broken in the big things, but it's also being slowly eroded and slowly broken in the small things. So if you say you'll be on time and you're late once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, I know probably after 3 times nobody will believe you. So that thing itself is enough to chew away and to erode the trust people have in you. And if I cannot trust you to be on time, at a meeting, how can I trust you with something more important, more valuable, and something that's, maybe even more risky or more significant? So if you are faithful in delivering the small things, those that you are serving will be able to entrust you with bigger and bigger things. But if you're failing to deliver in the little things, it's very hard, I mean, almost impossible for somebody like an employee or whoever is your boss to trust you with more. So the little things are extremely important because, for example, the thinking can be opposite. When I will be in that position, I will do that. When I will be in that situation, I will keep my word. But for now, this doesn't matter, so I'm not going to do it. Or this is too small for me, so I'm not going to do it. The problem is from the other side, how the person sees it is, well, I've given you a little thing to do and you have not done it. How am I able to give you a bigger thing to do? If you can't clean a bicycle, or if you can't build a bicycle or repair a bicycle, who can give you a car or an airplane or something a lot bigger? So faithfulness in the little things to finish the work and deliver on what you promise, because that will also build up in you the confidence that you can deliver. So you will not have inside of you that I'll like a broken self-perception or broken self-image, saying, what, I'm starting things but I never finish, or I'm starting and they fall through the cracks, or this is too big for me, I can't deliver. Rather, start from the littlest of things, the smallest beginnings, and say, okay, I'm going to deliver this bit, I will keep my word here, I'll be on time here. And that actually builds in you something that's solid and trustworthy. And you will know that once you say something, you will be able to do. Or if it's too big, say, hey, this is a bit too much, I will do half of this, and that half will be delivered. So pretty much those were my just my points for today, because I don't know how much time we have, and also to be able to ask if you want to ask any questions. So just to wrap up and to summarize, number one, don't seek a career, don't seek money, don't seek jobs, but seek first and foremost, this is for your own benefit. Seek God for that which you have been designed to do. Once you find what you are drawn to, begin to get the knowledge, take the classes, go to university, take the courses online, whatever you have to do, read the books to be able to grow in that direction, and follow that path. Don't follow market trends, but follow the design. Follow what's what's actually pulling you. And seek the wellness and the benefit of others, those who, you know, who hire you, those who pay you, those who reward you for your work. Seek their welfare, their benefit, because it's about them in the end. And if you take care of them, you will be taken care of. Keep your word, deliver absolutely everything you say. Even if you can't deliver, at least acknowledge it and be honest about it and tell the truth. And that's some of the things I would like to share with you. And again, resist the temptation to deviate and to change fields and change careers. If you feel you are not in the right place and it's grinding you on the inside, then yes, seek until you find. But once you find, stay there. And if you have found, like if at the moment you know you are in the right place and you know, man, this is what I'm made to do, just stay there and you know, plant yourself in that field and keep growing. And yeah, that's briefly what I wanted to share with you today.
Wow. Wow, quite deep and profound. Thank you so much, Dr. Dragos. And I am sure our participants may have questions. Please feel free to, this is like a session, an open dialogue session. If you have any questions, feel free to just raise your hands and then you'll be unmuted and you can ask your questions. And then if you don't want to speak, feel free to send your questions on the chat. And while you're thinking about your question, you're doing that, I'll just do some follow-up questions from my end. And I think I just want to start with what you were talking about, changing careers. And I think the problem sometimes that it's hard as young people to stay motivated. There are so many like options nowadays and everything looks, you know, everything looks really good. Everything looks lucrative and very nice. So I just want to start like your expedition to Antarctica, for example. That's quite like an interesting project you did there. How are you able to stay motivated? How are you able to like focus and just do one thing? Because the problem now is people just find it hard to stay motivated for in a particular like career path.
Well, I think the problem of dropping motivation is that how it was for me when I was by myself, you know, in the hours of the night. You know, when I grew up in Romania, and back then I was in during communism and post-communist Romania. So the mentality, so what I was indoctrinated back then was you have to find a job, keep quiet, and this is it. You know, you just have to find a job and stay in your track. And I didn't really think I have dreams or desires until in my, I would say, I was maybe 19, 20, 21 years old, around maybe early 20s. But in my early 20s, after I left my parents' house and I moved to the university, to the capital, I began to ask questions like, you know, do I have any dreams? You know, do I want anything more than just maybe finding this job and staying there? And when I was in the middle of the night, if you would ask me, honest to God, what do I want? What is my dream in that phase of life? Like the honest to God answer was, I want to go to Antarctica. I can't tell you why. It was that thing that I just wanted to do. I did not care to for people to know I was doing it. I did not. It didn't matter. I just wanted it for myself. So what I've done is I decided I'm going to give myself 1 year to work on this to see if there's a way for this to happen. So basically, I started to whatever I could think of, whatever I could try to do, you know, I followed. So I tried to do to go as a scientist, as a polar like a polar students association. That didn't work. I tried to. It's been so long ago, I can't even remember what I've tried, but I tried many things. But the thing is, this is what was interesting, that I went round and round and round, and I've tried all the things that I thought I could do, but I didn't really want to do. what I truly wanted to do was I just wanted to go to Antarctica, and my passion back then, what brought me joy was photography. So I wanted to go as actually as a photographer, and absolutely nothing that I have tried worked until I came to my last resort, the last thing I tried was the thing that I wanted the most,
Hmm.
and the thing I thought it's least possible. So I'll
Okay.
try to say it. So I wanted Antarctica. I wanted as a photographer. It was the last thing that I thought of to try because I thought it's not possible. I thought all other things would be
Hmm.
probably more lucrative, and they did
Hmm.
not work. But
Okay.
that one thing that I wanted and I didn't think it's possible, it was the one that actually took me there.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
I went. It took 1 year and around the mountain because that thing which was for me in my face, I ignored it.
Wow. Wow. Quite profound. Hmm.
And
Wow.
yeah, so that's and also that's one thing. And then also how probably what helped was the fact that I did not tell people. I only told a small amount of people. Like, I don't think I told close friends, maybe one or two, but I did not tell. Like, if anybody would present the slightest possibility of disbelief or unbelief or to destroy my uh, my attempts, I kept quiet. I just shut up.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. So, like like the less people know about what you're planning, probably the less disappointment you anticipate. Does that make that better?
it's it keeps the vision safe.
Hmm. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Thank you so
Because
much.
already if you want to go and pursue something, already you can't really see the way ahead, already
Yeah,
you don't know how it's going to turn out. You just feel drawn to it, but you have no clue how it's going to happen.
yeah,
You don't want people around you to actually come into your head
yeah,
with that kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
thinking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we have some hands up, and so we can start with Peter, and then Donati can go next. Please, if you don't want to speak, you can actually send your question through the chat box. Please don't forget that. Thank you. So Peter, please.
Hi everyone, good morning. Well, so my question would be, so I joined in a bit late, but the part I got, just thinking, if you have a passion for something that your environment, say your country, it doesn't seem to be very serious about, or there are not enough opportunities for you to explore that path, what would you do? So for example,
I was
I
in I, I was in that position.
Okay. So what do you think can be done there? Because it's a
Well, obviously it depends on you, but are you talking about leaving the country to go somewhere else, or what's the question?
well, that's also an option, but in situations where it's not easily achievable, so you're stuck, kind of stuck where you are.
So let me give you my story, and maybe it can answer your question. So back in Romania, um, when I think I was about 20 years old, maybe earlier, maybe before, I made the decision that, so this was during university, and I made a decision that I will leave the country one day and I will live somewhere else. I did not know what career I will choose. I did not know how it's going to happen. I did not know what field of work I will take. All I am not staying here. I'm going to leave. And from that moment onwards, I started to focus and to everything I was I was listening to, like most of the things I was listening to or reading or watching or all in English for me to get the language in place. And it took, I think it took at least another maybe 3, 4, 5 years until I finished university and the opportunity came for me to do a PhD and to leave Romania for New Zealand. So because the country did not give me enough opportunities, I realized I started off with a salary in my work, and after 6 years, it remained the same. And that's when I realized I think I need to change something, because if I don't change something, it might end up being like this for, who knows how long. So when the opportunity showed up, I left. One thing I learned, so one of the great, I would say, blessings I got from, I was mentored by the NASA director who built Hubble Space Telescope. He actually he wrote a book called How NASA Builds Teams, and he said something very important that it's extremely powerful to get. He said that social context always trumps individual capabilities or individual attempts and so on. So the social context in which you find yourself, it's more powerful than your own abilities to succeed. So if the context empowers you, it's you will fly with the context. But if the context is suppressing you and is pushing against you, you can't beat the context. So it's either like a lifelong battle, or you just find another way in a different context.
Okay.
Is that answering you?
Yeah, it answers to a large extent. So the other part of my question is, I think you've answered partially, but the other part. So I have this, just like you, that you wanted to go to Antarctica, not for any particular reason. You just wanted to go there, maybe to take photos or something. So part of the things that I have that look like, that might sound like very big visions would include experimenting with building different types of aircraft on my own, different type of flying vehicles on my own. So the reason why I feel it's a big vision, at least to me, is because of the costs involved, and then also maybe partly due to my location, but not really, because I could leave the country and then the opportunities will be better elsewhere. But the cost involved in something like that, since it's not something that's aimed at generating profit or like a business, it's for a hobby, kind of. So it sometimes feels far-fetched, because the cost keep increasing every day, cost of components that you need for something like that. So it just kind of feels like the path I chose was, because this would most likely have to be self-funded. So I decided to go down a different career path that would allow me to get the funds, and then my plan is later I would come back to it. And I'm just hoping I don't lose the passion along the way. So yeah. So part of your answer, a part of
So
your
have you have you completely changed the directions now? Different careers?
Well, my major career right now is not in that line, but I still do consultations, and I get calls from time to time to do something in the career path that I like, that I have the passion for. So, but the one I'm in right now, I'm doing it mostly for the money. Although I also have passion for it, but mostly for the money.
So just let me ask you one question. I mean, it's something to maybe think about. So let's say if your career is in, let's say what you want to pursue is aviation, right?
Yeah.
Or in whatever form it takes for you. So you are here, so you are in this moment, and you want to get here. That's the vision, right? But you can't. It's too far. So what you've done, if I understand right, you took a different course, and now you're kind of trying to do both in the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Would there be an option for you to actually, rather than, from here you go here and you walk to like this, to actually find the step in between in the same career? Like maybe you work for an airline company or for some kind of aviation company, rather than have it in completely different field. So in this way, you're building the experience in the same field, and you're making the steps closer and closer towards the vision, rather than being in something completely different.
Yeah. So I actually thought of that too, and I think I don't want to take too much time for myself here, but I actually thought of that too, and I tried a few options, but something I realized was in the something about kind of feels like childhood visions, but my earlier plan was I wanted to go into aeronautic engineering, and my
I think
my
I think Nelly wants
That,
to.
we have a long queue.
Okay, yeah. Let me just say the question. My plan was aeronautic engineering, and my interest was in majorly having a wholesome experience of aircraft. But in the part that you just described, I would need to go through, but it didn't seem fulfilling enough because um against my earlier knowledge, aeronautic engineering, you need to be specialized. So you can't deal with every part of the aircraft. You'd have to be specialized, maybe wings, landing gear, stuff like that. So that part would not give me the fulfillment that I desire. So that's why I kind of decided to go the longer route, and I'll end up at the top one day.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was an interesting dialogue. Just back and forth. I'm sure everybody must have picked up one or two things. Peter, thank you so much for putting some context to our conversation, and hopefully, other people coming up, we can build on the context. So you can say that sometimes we face dilemmas when it comes to our careers, and we have 4 hands up at the moment. And then we have a question on the chat as well. So everybody just do me a favor, do us a favor by keeping your questions quite brief. It's getting really late in New Zealand, so that Dr. Dragos can also go to bed as well. So I'll take Donut, and then Daniel, then Noah, and then Jake, then with Favor. So just in that order.
It's not that late, but didn't you have the other speaker as well, Adriana, or what?
No. Adriana's coming next week, Thursday. So it's just you two. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. So Donut, please feel free.
So I don't know. Good morning, everyone. First of all, my English is not that much good like yours here. So I'll be going with what I can say. So thank you, Miss Nelly. We just met right now today, and she told me that there was an webinar regarding the special issues and the stuff. And thank you, Dr. Dragos. And I have really appreciated the presentation. And right now, I'm doing a PhD in geomatics engineering. So I think it's a little bit, it's concerned a little what you are doing in Space Hub. So I'd like to know what are the goals of Space Hub for Africa, and also can we also know why Space Hub is in Estonia instead of Africa? This is my second question. And the third one is how to say, must be regards Mr. Dr. Dragos, because Dr. Dragos according to what you said in your presentation, we don't, if I can, I understand well what you said. We have to do what we are, our destiny gave us, right? If I'm not wrong, like we have to deal with what to say we are called to do. So that was the interesting point. But like the life didn't hasn't. I think in life you don't have the capacity to actually do what you are called to do sometimes, like it's mostly difficult in Africa to choose what you really want to be, because I'm not going to say what you already knows, like political issues,
Yeah.
instability and those stuff. It's difficult. And in this, when you have like these conditions, how can you really come out and do what you are called to do in life? This is the first thing. And the second thing is
Donald,
Actually,
sorry, an account of
can I?
time I have. Yeah, for the questions on
Ne-
Space of Africa, I'll take that and I'll fix a meeting
Yeah.
with you and we can discuss that outside this webinar. And Dr. Dragos, you can just focus on the last part of his question about background challenges. Thank you.
okay.
So you want
Can
to
I?
answer now or afterwards? Actually, I just want to make your question actually reminded me of something that I think it's really really valuable to share. So it's so important to not, if it's none of your business, leave it out. So if it's none of your business, do not put your nose, your hand, in stuff that is none of your business. So for example, you find yourself in a job and you begin to hear stuff about, we are going through these changes, this political situation is in the company, this political situation is in the country, and so on. If you can't do anything about it, especially if you're too tiny, like for example, in some of the roles where I work, I am too insignificant and too tiny to be able to to worry about the big issues, the political issues. So I do not think about those. I do not consider such things. I just focus on what is the bit that I have to do best to serve the ones that are around me. So I don't know if you can change the political situation in Africa or in your country. You can't do those things. So just wherever you are, use your life to serve in that situation and don't worry about what's not of your business or your power to change or
That's quite a good one. Thank you for addressing that, Dr. Dragos. On account of time, so sorry, Donald, but on account of time, since we have a long queue, we just want to hear from as many of our participants as possible. But feel free to send your question in the chat box. So what's going to happen is we'll take all the questions and maybe we can, Dr. Dragos, you can just note who's asking what as well, just to save time. So Daniel, we'll have your question. Just go straight to your question. Thank you so much. And then we'll have Noah, and then we'll take Jake's question and then Favor. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Dragos, for reminding us of our humanity. Yeah. Thank you for reminding us of our humanity in the midst of the hot chase for career and ambition. So I have two questions. Firstly, is how do you get to balance who you are and what you do or what you love to do? How do you get to avoid losing one or the other, but make to work together for you, your passion and your talents and your ambition? And the second one is what are the strategies or the advised strategies for navigating or dealing with uncertainties when finding your place in destiny?
Okay, can you please repeat the first question a bit? A bit more detail? What do you mean? How do you balance?
Okay, how do you get both of them to play, or how do you fuse your natural tendencies or your talents, your passion with your work.
Okay. I've noted that. And then the second is strategies to deal with challenges.
Challenges and uncertainties while navigating your path to destiny.
Okay, great. Thank you, Daniel. And let's take Noah's question. Noah, if you can hear us, please, can you unmute your earpiece?
Yeah, I can hear, but I thought Dr. Dragos was about to say something.
I will try to answer. Well, I'm trying to answer Daniel the first question.
Okay.
How do I balance? I think if you're talking about from maybe a time perspective of or effort required, or the thing is, in today's world there is so much information, so many things you can read. There's there's so many books you can read online. There's so much video you can watch. There's so many videos and so many audiobooks, and there's so much of all of this, like a complete flooding of everything. So for me what is the main thing? Like, what is the main thing for me? And I stick with that thing. And then in terms of basically you prioritize what is the utmost important thing, and you make sure that you protect that, and you cling to that, and you whenever stuff tries to take you away from that, you just refuse, and you push back on everything that's not the main thing. Like, for example, in my work, I have to do the strategies, I have to do to manage certain projects, and as I'm marching on this in this role, there's always people trying to pull you to the left and to the right, and you hear this is what's happening in the politics of the company. This is where I do not I mean, if there's something that I need to know, I will hear it, but if not, you kind of fight yourself off to protect what what's important for you, what you value, and you stick to that. And the thing is, if you don't do it, and others begin to chew at your time, they chew at your attention, it's the thing is on you. So it is you that has to protect and to to keep the dogs that they want to eat away your time and your everything away. The second question was about the strategies in uncertainty. I'm not exactly sure in what you want me to answer in that. Are you talking from a personal point of view, like me, or in general, how to go about it, or what is the question?
I think that's for Daniel.
Yeah, I think it's from a personal point of view, like you. Like, there are so many uncertainties, you don't just know. Like, for example, taking opportunities or starting a venture, or some navigating changes that just happen. So how do you confront those type of things?
I mean, if you want me to answer from a personal perspective, for me, it comes back. It basically what you're not seeing on LinkedIn, what you're not seeing, in my even in my career, is my personal relationship that I have with God. So I can tell you a quick story if you want. Nelly, may I share something personal, or how much time do we have?
I think it depends on for you right now. So please feel free, as long as our participants are also here as well. We have all the time. Thank you.
Okay. So Daniel, since I have been given the time, for me it's 10 o'clock in the night, so I can carry on for a bit longer. But let me tell you a personal story. So you can see how it adds up to the career and everything else. And actually how we actually have more life than just jobs or careers and stuff like that. So about 10 years ago, no, let's go back. So in my early 20s, I was still in Romania. I was doing in electronics engineering. And in my early 20s, I started to ask the question, you know, what's my purpose in life? Why am I here? Do I have any dreams? And what is the truth? I just wanted to know the truth. And because I couldn't afford to buy books, I began to go to bookshops and I began to start reading. So I've read and I've read, and I've started to study spiritual books from all over the world. I started to study entrepreneurship and marketing and all sorts of things, you know, trying to search for something, but I didn't know what I was searching for. So I kept going like this for, I would say, 7-8 years. So try to picture this situation. I am in my, now I'm 26, 27 years old. I'm starting, actually I'm going through my PhD in space, in Earth observations. I'm beginning to win awards from, I won awards from the US for my research. I won all sorts of recognitions from the Satellite Center, in Europe, from American companies, grants from IEEE to travel and so on. And that was my career. So my career was going up, but actually what you wouldn't see was that my internal well-being was going down. So I ended up in this period of depression, and it went darker and worse to the point that I was at the space agency, and I was actually looking down from the 5th floor because I simply did not want to live anymore. I was so depressed that I was thinking, man, if I would have the courage, I would end it all. But something in me was like, this is not the way. I was very scared to do it, but in the same time, I was thinking, because I just couldn't endure the pain anymore. When I was going home from work, you know, I was traveling the world. I was going home from work, and I was walking past a cemetery, past a graveyard, and I was cursing the dead in the cemetery, wanting to be in their place. So that's how bad the depression was. And I had somebody who did 2 depression tests on me, and on both of them, I turned out to be 4.5 out of 5 on the depression scale. Or 5, basically 5, you're suicidal, so you're tipping, you're about to fall into the grave. And this went on for about 5 years. And in this time, I was pursuing my career. I was following these, you know, dreams. I wanted to be a writer, to make movies and so on. Trying to see, you know, what can I make out of my life. But in the same time, I was extremely depressed to the point of it was horrible for 5 years. And my dreams failed. My my plans and my business, everything I wanted collapsed. And I was 32 years old, and I was in my parents' apartment at midnight, and I had just reached the end. I reached dead end. I just couldn't carry on anymore. So I remember it was probably around midnight. When I couldn't put up with the pain anymore, and I grabbed the pillow in my hands. I was alone in my room. I grabbed the pillow in my hand, and I cried out from the innermost being, from the depth of my heart. I cried out, God, if you're real, help. That was my last cry of, God, if you're real, help. So after that, I messaged a friend in Hawaii. He said, I said to him, can I come and stay with you for some time? Maybe I can find healing or something to come out of this mess. He said, yes, come. I took my last money or close to my last money, and I flew to Hawaii on this farm. And in this farm, he was living on this beautiful mansion with he had like three big houses on 5 hectares or 5 acres of land. And after a month of me being there, he said, I can't stay anymore. This is my the house keys, the car keys. Feed my dogs, feed my chickens, and the house is, you just take care of my house. And he left. So, you know, I'm on this beautiful island and I'm depressed. And depression is like eating away any kind of joy that comes your way. It's getting devoured. And as he left, he told me, look, if you have the chance to read something by this person, go online and find some books from her and read. So I went online and I found a book that he mentioned from this author, and I paid for the book 86 cents. I remember I paid 86 cents, and it took, I think, 6 weeks to arrive. Now, this is what happened. I was in the kitchen, and the book arrived. I opened the book, and I began to read the foreword, and it talked about this person, Catherine Kuhlman, who was a woman of God in the 60s and 70s in the States. And I'm beginning to think, oh, I'm not sure I want to read this. I don't think I want to read this. But anyway, I flipped the foreword. I flipped the page of the foreword. And I'm standing in front of the kitchen looking out the window, and I'm reading from this foreword. And when my eyes so my eyes read the last sentence of the foreword. And the last sentence said, if you have not made that full surrender to Jesus Christ, do it now. When my eyes finished reading that, I felt like this electric shock went through my heart. I dropped the book in the sink. I almost went down on the floor. I grabbed the kitchen sink with my elbows. I got up. And in that instant, 3 things happened for me. The first thing, I was instantly healed. So all depression, all that affliction was instantly healed. Like I was completely gone after. It must have been 5 to 7 years. I had suffered through it. It was instantly healed in a split second. The second thing that happened when I had that shock was that I went from, I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know what I'm searching. I was kind of floating throughout the whole world. I went from that to the utmost certainty that Jesus Christ is the truth. Like that thing was unshakable from me. And the third thing that I knew was I knew that he knows absolutely everything about me, and all my bad things or all my sins from the past 33 years of life just came out. And I began to cry, and I fell on my face and I cried over everything I have done wrong that I could remember throughout 33 years of life. So ever since that moment, my now to come back to answer your question, my whole life came focused around the person of Jesus Christ. So I don't really concern myself with the fluctuations of how the world goes. I don't I don't read newspapers. I don't follow the trends of what happens here or there. I just cling to him no matter what happens around me. So when you ask the question, how do I deal with uncertainties or how do I deal with careers, I just cling to him with utmost everything I have, because I was going down to the very close to death. I was tiptoeing towards the grave. I cried out, he showed up, and now, you know, he became my anchor. So so that's the very long answer to your question.
Wow. Quite profound. Thank you for sharing that personal experience of your faith with us as well. I think people of faith here would be able to also relate to how faith can be kind of like an anchor in terms of your career and your personal life. So thank you for sharing that with us. And we'll just go quickly to Noah, and then we'll take Jake's question, and then people. Noah, please feel free.
Hi. Honestly, in between all the conversations, whatever I wanted to say has actually fluctuated. But yeah, I've been a big space geek since I was little, and coming from around here, I don't want to complain about it, but coming from around here, it's not thinkable. Is Nelly saying something?
No, yeah, you said where, just to give some context. You said coming from around here, where is that?
Oh, Nigeria. I mean,
so everybody's from Nigeria or different countries?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
You're muted, Nelly.
Different countries.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So currently I'm an artistic researcher, and I'm part of a collective. I'm working in Dar es Salaam, doing some artistic research into sand mining. And I wanted to ask, was there ever a time where, collective thinking or community or communal thinking actually helped you, get through processes like this? And also, was there, since you're a photographer, did you ever use, some speculative forms of thinking or, art to actually solve some problems in your, should I say, your aerospace career?
I'll answer the first one. So the answer is definitely yes when it comes to collective thinking, in the sense of I'll just give you an answer of how in these roles that I'm doing now. There's a lot of people that have, so basically I have to deliver strategies for Earth observation or for geospatial that have a lot of stakeholders at the end. So there's a lot of stakeholders, businesses that have to have an input into these strategies and into the products and the projects that the strategies deliver. So that's one side. The other side is that I have a technical, it's not my team, but there are technical people that have to implement the projects and to technically deliver the work. So that's the other, the other extreme. So when it comes to a strategy, you have the objectives of the organization. You have the stakeholders that have to be, all of them or as many of them have to be pleased. And then you have the technical teams to be able to develop and to implement that which the stakeholders want. So whenever I do this kind of work, I don't go around saying this is what we're doing, but rather I am the last one to talk or to speak usually, because I will listen to everybody else. I will get their inputs from the stakeholders. I will get the inputs from my manager. I will get the inputs from the technical teams. And once you have that canvas of this is what people want, this is what we can do, and you put them together, you are able to create hopefully the best product or the best strategy to serve as many as possible. So I don't bring my thoughts and say this is what we're doing, because again, as I said, it's not about me, it's about all of the other people. So that's the answer. The answer is yes, just to get the minds to think of the solutions, and then get the minds of the engineers or the technical people to how to implement it. Then you kind of take a step back and you just put the pieces together, but they all come from them. The other question was, have I used, can you repeat, have I used photography?
Yeah, I mean, not just photography, like, was there any way, because I'm currently like interested in a lot of speculative work in, thinking about the future and answering questions or thinking about future scenarios. Was there ever a time you used any artistic mediums to actually think to solve problems? basically?
I don't know how to answer that. I mean, probably it's ingrained in my way of thinking, but I can't really give, I don't know, like I don't, can you give me an example of what you mean?
Okay, there's an example. There's this design artist called Emilia Tika. So she actually created a speculative project talking about CRISPR, CRISPR, the gene editing technology.
What do you mean by
So
speculative?
speculative in the sense that it's a scenario that has not happened and may not happen, but it's just a way to actually think about challenges or problems or future scenarios.
Oh no, I don't really. Okay, now I get it. No, I don't do that. Actually, I like reality, so I don't think of what might happen or what could happen, or I don't. It just my mind doesn't work in that kind of approach.
Yeah, okay, I get that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Noah. We're just going to take Jake's question quite quickly because it's been there for a while. So Jake asked about keeping your vision to yourself and keeping your vision safe. It's on the chat and it's like, how do you reconcile this if you need funding and things like that? Yeah, so how do you do that when you need funding to pursue your dreams? How do you then keep it safe to yourself?
Well, I guess first of all, you don't tell people that, like friends and people that can only hinder you, but they can't help you. Just don't tell them. First of all, keep quiet from them. So obviously, if you do have to get funding and you have to get investors, you do have to tell them. And that's going to be, I guess, you have to kind of have the, you have to want it so much and believe it can happen that when people say no, it's not possible, to carry on.
Yeah.
And this is why it's coming back to the way you have been designed. I mean, the vision might change, but not so much kind of the track that you are pursuing. Like, for example, in my Earth observation, I give an example, my Earth observation work. Photography and art is mixed with science and technology, and for me, they combined together into what really, like how I have been designed to function. And the same way, the same approach I take when I'm writing my books is the same approach of having kind of creative thinking and artistic thinking mixed with scientific research and data and so on. And so basically, just the way I am, I took it from one industry and I applied it to another's. But the way I am, it's still the same.
Yeah.
So I do not know what question I'm answering. Sorry, I lost the question.
So Jack is asking, like, yeah, I think you've answered the question. To be fair, you've answered it. If you need investors, then you have to share your vision, because I think.
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
So basically, obviously, if you come to the conclusion that your vision is just not going to happen, you have to be, brave enough to let it go. And but it doesn't. But just because something. So the vision is not supposed to be about building something. The vision, I think, it's supposed to be about making sure that what you're designed to do is actually followed and pursued. Because even if you have a vision and you achieve it, after that something else will show up, and after that something else will show up, So you think in terms of, let's say, now obviously you think in terms of not possible or in terms of failure or in terms of not enough money. But take the other scenario in which things do happen. There is enough money. You go one success after another. But if it's not what you have been designed to do, it's going to be a complete disaster.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, obviously there's no, there's no scientific answer to this question.
Yeah, there's not at all, not at all. Thank you so much. And I think Favor has also had her hands up for a while. So
I think the answer is you have to go to bed at night and be peaceful about it.
Absolutely. Yes. So Favor, feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question as well.
Okay, good evening. Good morning, everybody. My name is Atinchi Festival. I'm a 300 level student of Lagos State University studying aeronautical and aerospace engineering. And I'm also an aspiring astronaut. So, in this journey that I've been going on, like you having this kind of dream in this situation where I am, or in the country where I am, it's like it's not possible because there are many little opportunities into venturing into that field or that space. So I would like to get a word from you because I actually joined the session a bit late. So I would like to hear from you, sir, on how and what I should do in achieving my dream because I am coming to use this for helping from being an astronaut. That's been my dream since I was in primary school. And I thank God for the progress thus far because He has kept me and I'm still in line with the field I want to do. So I would like to ask for a word of advice from you, sir. That's my question. Thank you very much.
How to be an astronaut? Wow. I think first of all, I don't know how to answer that. Like what I can tell you is, first of all, you have to follow a career path that will lead you there. So you have to know what are the kind of the career requirements that an astronaut has. I know you can be an engineer, or you have to be a medical doctor, or you can be you definitely have to be an aircraft pilot or like a jet fighter pilot. But I do not know how to, which of these things or in what combination. I do not have the answer for that. So I think the best way to find out the answers to that is to actually study the lives of astronauts, talk to astronauts, go on LinkedIn and ask them, read the books about their lives to see what they have studied, what kind of I guess military studies, aviation studies, engineering, medical studies, and so on. So I mean, the best, they are the persons to be able to answer that question, because I don't know. But if you study their lives, you kind of have a career path to follow. And I think most of them are coming from a military background. They have been flying jet fighters. They have been trained in medical sciences or all sorts of engineering. And there's usually an application that you have to go through with a space agency, either in your country if it has astronauts, or the European Space Agency, or yeah, it's a very long process, but
yeah.
Just to add to that. So this is Kweku Suma from Space Hubs Africa. I have a relevant answer to this because when I was younger in university, I wanted to become an astronaut. And we had the luck of having one of Canada's astronauts come to our university to talk. And it's a very difficult path, let's say it that way. Generally, you need to be an expert in at least 3 different disciplines. So that can be like physics, chemistry, engineering, because when you're in space, you're just there with your team and no one can help you. So you need to have the skills to also do research in very extreme environments.
Right.
The first step is becoming an expert in several different scientific disciplines, having some engineering skills, but there's also a physical requirement. So generally, you need to be quite physically fit. You need to have very good eyesight and different things like that so that you're actually also eligible to go to space. So those are just a few elements of the things that you need to have. I would suggest on YouTube, there are a lot of videos of different astronauts speaking about the path towards becoming an astronaut. There's a European astronaut, Pesquet, who released a book as well about his journey to space. So I'd recommend looking into those resources online. But yeah, you need to be an expert in multiple fields, and you need to have certain physical capabilities to even handle outer space as well. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Thank you, Dr. Dragos, and thank you, Kweku, as well. And I'm going to add my third bit to favor. Your question is quite the hot cake here. You could also be a citizen astronaut, so you might not be like a full-time, professional astronaut, but if you just want to go to space for the sake of going to space, just to have the experience, you could be a citizen astronaut. And Nigeria just signed its first MOU with Sarah for a spot at Blue Origin, one of Blue Origin spacecraft, to send the first Nigerian citizen astronaut to space. So it's more of like a civilian astronaut. You just go through an application, and there'll be like a large voting process, and then whoever kind of like wins, takes that first free trip. But yes, that's more of like it's also a long shot as well, since thousands and thousands of people will be interested in going, and it can literally be anybody, not even anybody in the space sector. But that's another option to keep open for these citizen astronauts post as well, in addition to what Dr. Dragos and Kweku has said. So thanks for asking that question. And I think we have one more question on the group chat about choosing and maintaining mentors from Mida. So that's for Dr. Dragos. How do you choose and maintain maybe your mentors in the industry as well? If we could take that question. I don't see any more questions. Favor, your hand is still up. Do you have a question? Just okay. I guess not. Okay, sorry. Yes. So yes, the question is on mentorship.
I wouldn't be able to answer you in a very precise way, simply because I didn't really have a lot of mentors. I only had one that I read his, so he was the person who he was the NASA director who led the team that built Hubble Space Telescope. So I think he's the closest I can think of as being my mentor, although there was not like a formal relationship as you would define it in terms of maybe what mentorship means. But the idea is that I read a lot of books, and I came across his book, and I said, can I come? And I emailed him, and to my surprise, he answered. And I went and I saw him, and we developed a relationship. And he said, I'm going to come to Romania, and he asked me, will you drive me around? Or I offered to drive him around and be his driver. So in those 2 weeks of driving around, I heard his stories. I learned from him. I read the book. And I think the answer to your question, the best way to maybe find mentors and to maintain them is to find ways to serve them. So rather than going around asking, can you be my mentor? Can you help me? I found in my experience, I'm not saying I'm right, I'm just saying it's been my experience, it doesn't last. But if you manage to find a relationship of, you are the apprentice, he or she is the, I guess, the master of the trade, or whatever you want to call it, and you submit to them and you serve them, even if you don't get paid, and you basically sit under them, and you get the knowledge, get the, just to be in their presence and to get their experience. That to me was what I found the most useful, to actually to go and be just in submission and volunteering to their mission, their organization, serve there for free, offer my services even on the weekends at their house to help around the house. And in that process, I've learned so much, so much valuable stuff, because it's in that relationship that you actually, build the relationship. And I've learned that if you ask them, how can I help you? And if they need help, and if they answer that, and if you offer your help for free, that will maintain the relationship. But usually if you go and you ask, can you help me? Can you teach me? Can you mentor me? if there's no two ways, giving and taking, it's probably not going to last for too long.
Wow. Yeah, that's the realest answer. That's such a real answer. Thank you so much, Dr. Dragos. I don't see any more hands up and any more questions on the chat anymore.
Because you see, Nelly, there's this is the problem with this kind of the outflow of books and information on videos. People can come and they say stuff, do this and do that, and they teach and stuff. But when we are listening, you're beginning to think, but life is not really like how these books are telling me to be. Like there's a gap between how my life looks like and how the books are telling me it should be. And it's probably because the books are is just either mental philosophy, or could be dead wrong, plain wrong, or it's just nice philosophy, but when it comes to the reality of things, it's not as straightforward.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Everybody. And yes, we're rounding up the webinar now. It's been such an insightful one. Thanks for all the comments as well. I've gotten some comments and my DM for people who weren't able to stay to the end, saying how wonderful this has been so far. And so just before we round up for today, I'm just going to share my screen again. I'm not sure if I can. So quickly, if you could help me with the other parts of the slides as well. Okay, yes. Thank you so much. So our next upcoming webinar is going to be next week Thursday on the 1st of August. And we'll be having Dr. Adriana also share her story with us as well. So we hope to see you as well. And feel free to connect with us on social media. And if you want to join our WhatsApp as well, we have a WhatsApp community. Feel free to join our WhatsApp community as well. So before we completely round up, yes, and the mailing list, very important. Check your spam and check your emails as well if you're part of our mailing list. So thank you so much, everybody. And before we round up, finally, I don't know, Dr. Dragos, if you have some final words for us that we could take as parting words for the webinar as well. Thank you.
Sorry, Nelly, you asked me if I have some parting words?
Yes.
I think I would say this. I would say that just get very, very, very honest with yourself about your life and about everything. Like honest to no compromise, honest to God about what's on the inside, honest about everything, and start from there. I think that's
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. So don't forget to follow us on social media and just keep in touch with us. And yes, we're going to send the link for the WhatsApp group as well. Would also share other information with you through the mailing list. So just keep checking your mails for us. Thank you so much, everybody. As is our custom, we would like to take a picture for the webinar. So if you'd like to join the picture, just to give us a memorial for today's webinar, feel free to unmute yourself so we can take a group photograph at the webinar. And yes, thank you, Kweku. And let's see who else is going to join us. Jake and Peter and Noah, and there's so many people here. Please feel free to unmute yourself so we could take a group photograph if you can do that, please. So thank you, Peter and Jake. So thank you, everybody. And Timothy, and okay, we'll just give room for like maybe 2 or 3 more people so we can have more people join. Yes, if you want to join the photograph. Okay, thanks, Glory. Thanks for coming, everybody. And thank you, Musa. Thanks for joining us today. It's been an amazing time. Oh, Favor, our upcoming astronauts. Thanks for putting your camera. And thank you, Donat, as well. Thanks for your questions. Okay, so Peter, Peko, can you help us with the picture, please? Absolutely. All right, thank you so much, everybody. And yes, 1, 2, 3, good cheers. Have you? Great, absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a lovely 1 hour, 30 minutes, and we really appreciate you. And we appreciate Dr. Dragos as well for his time and staying up so late, just answering to all our questions.
Thank you for the invitation. I hope it was, helpful.
Absolutely.
But life is real, so just start there.
Thank you. Thanks for a very sincere and very detailed and answer as well. We really appreciate it. Everybody, we hope you keep in touch with us. Okay, have a lovely start.
Ellie, I'll send you some message on LinkedIn, okay?
Okay. Bye. Okay. Yes. I remember all your questions, and yes, I'll get back to you and answer your questions about Space Ops Africa.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice weekend.
Bye. Bye.